Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Mordechai. How are you, Gary? Welcome to all our guests. First, let's say Hayoim Shmoina Varboim Yoim Shem Shisho Shavuos V'Shisho Yomim Ba'omer Loimer. If you haven't done so, it's a great time to join the Refuah Shelaima project. We have 1 day left. Shalom Aleichem, Reb Davis, all the way from London. How's it going? Tell us.
I come to promote the London Siyum.
You came to promote the London Siyum. Why don't you send us some literature, something? Here, let me show you this. Talking about the London Siyum. We have the Manchester Siyum. 80 people signed up already. 2 people are flying in from Gibraltar, just there, and 1 guy's flying in from Beitar. Rabbi Isai, Michael Harbrader is here. Psh, what a surprise. What are you doing here? Are you wearing your hospital clothing underneath? What is that?
I'm still a patient.
Still a patient.
I have psychiatry. Actual surgery is happening.
Wow.
They stabilized me and they set me out and said, "Don't exert yourself. I'm going back in the field."
Okay. Should have Refuah Shelaima. It should go well. Take a second opinion. Maybe you don't need a surgery at all. All right, back to you, Reb Diary. Yeah, so how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well.
Are people signing up?
We're doing a non-sign-up.
A non-sign-up?
Yeah.
Let me guess. It's non-paying. You just walk in.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. You guys are going to have to pay. Somebody's going to have to... no food?
Plenty food.
Plenty food?
Yeah, plenty music. Wow.
It's going to be nice. Okay. So we have no idea. It might be 5,000 people.
Absolutely.
Halavai. This is the siyum for the Israelis, the Hebrew speakers. I'm encouraging everybody to go. It's going to be even the Americans should show up there because Penny Einhorn is the biggest Kumsitz guy. He's going to be there. It's going to be a really big matzav. So, Rabbi Isai, let me share with you something I thought about as I woke up this morning again. No, I'm just kidding. But I had this machshava. We all know there's a Shidduch crisis, right? Everybody knows about it. It's like everybody's like, you hear about the Shidduch crisis, you shake your head. It's like, oh, naira. And what do you do about it? 99% of the people do zero. Zero. You hear about it, and you read about it, and you read another article, and you say, yeah, I really should make a Shidduch. And then you don't make a Shidduch, you don't even think about it. So I'm here to tell you, Rabbi Isai, it's Kabbalah HaTorah tomorrow night. And you think about bringing another person to the daf, changing a person's life. Yeah, you hear about it. That's for Peretz Chaim Levin. That's for the big Shadchanim. No. You yourself could go ahead and go over to that guy in Shul that you know that hasn't opened up a sefer in 36 years. Or he's opened up a sefer, but he doesn't learn enough. He could benefit. And you guys sitting right over here, I think you're all responsible. The last time you guys, you hear Mendy? Last time you brought somebody is a year ago. It's time to step up and make the phone call, knock on somebody's door. Be'emes, it's time. Go out of your comfort zone. And at the same time, make a shidduch. HaKadosh Baruch Hu married us on Shavuos. Let's marry. I'm not going to do it because I made a shidduch and they got divorced. So I have shidduch trauma. But I'm asking you guys, go ahead and make shidduchim. Fine, I'll try myself. But I am going to try to bring another person to Torah, and I'm asking you, go out of your comfort zone. It's almost Bava Basra. It's time to step it up and bring some people to the shir. Hebrew, English, etc., etc. Now, somebody, I didn't have a chance to answer them. I know this person gives a lot to the shir, and he just asked me if we're still looking for money for the Bava Basra volume, and I'll speak to him directly through here because I know he's watching now, and you're probably going to get a text in a second, Noam. The answer is the Bava Basra is going to cost us just the Gemaras alone probably close to $100,000, and so far we raised a whopping $5,000. So it's okay. We made it. We did the charity thing. But if somebody wants to jump in and be a part of this, now is a great time. So, Reb Eli Shlita. I was at Keshe Nafshi weekend, which concluded today, and I was astounded by the dedication of Peretz Chaim. This also explains what's the difference between you and Peretz Chaim? How did Peretz Chaim bring 1,400 people and you brought 1.5 people, maybe, on a good day? He sat at the booth for hours last night until early in the morning and was there again bright and early this morning with his smiling face to pull in new recruits. I learned that besides from him being a good salesman, his success is due to his long hours and perseverance. This was a lesson to me about what we can achieve if we are totally and really dedicated to something and put in long hours of work. Thank you so much for providing us with the opportunity to come in contact with such amazing Yidden and learn from them. The Pum Tzara, you work hard on getting somebody. It took me, Beloy Guzma, you could ask him, he's sitting here, I like to mention him a lot, Benny Rodnick, 2 years of almost every day asking him to come. But I'm very happy that he finally did come because he's the biggest piece in the Hebrew Shir. He's the one doing the siyum, and he's massive. So sometimes perseverance, it takes 2 years sometimes. Dear Reb Eli, no? Please convey my wishes and Refuah Shelaima to Michael if you speak to him. We davened in the same shul since we were several years before our bar mitzvahs, around 60 years ago, Gershon Dubin. That's nice, huh? Look at this. Gershon, look. You put a smile on the guy's face. Show the camera. But Gary Ben Moshe, by the way, the coloring on the screen is different. Last night, the most famous radio personality here in Eretz Yisrael, his name is Menachem Toker. He came and he interviewed me for an hour right here after the shir. We left the Beis Medrash after 12 a.m. It was like 12:30 maybe. Gary, Avremi, Benny, all here doing the cameras. It was we never did it. We had to take this away, and we used that camera, this camera, Kitzer. So the lighting might be a little off on that camera. Looks different. These are some of the chevra, in the Israeli shir, Hebrew shir, tremendous chevra. If you know anybody, this is a gavaldik group of guys. And here's an Israeli that sent us. He goes, sometimes when your friends pull you to watch a game, but you're in the middle of the daf. Michal Brudman. So there I am in small, of course the game in large, but that doesn't matter as long as you're doing Torah. The Masech is sponsored by Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. The Paras HaChodesh, Lili Nishma Zechariah ben Moshe, Lili Nishma Chaya bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh, Refuah Shelaima, Neftali Herz ben Henya Leah, a hidden tzadik in our generation. Paras HaShavua. It's one of those shirts. I don't know what's going on. Refuah Shelaima, Mordechai ben Esther. Everybody, Reb Eli, Refuah Shelaima. Mordechai ben Esther helps a lot to the shir, but he's a hidden one. Mendel Pilchick, Lizchut, Refuah Shelaima, Yitzchak Zev ben Tzina, who is on a respirator and in need of a big Yeshua, Refuah Shelaima. And by David Carfunkel, Sar Gittel Bas Baila Chaya should have success in Beis Din. That means not success to the other person, no? Yeah, who's the other? Better sponsor quickly, a week. Okay. Unbelievable. We're holding 8-9 lines from the bottom of Kuf Beis, Amud Beis, Bo Minei Reb Eli. So I had a question for the Olam. Let's say you go to your neighbor and you say, "Can I borrow your drill? I would like to drill 3 holes in my sukkah." And then you get to your sukkah and you figure that you need to drill a 4th hole. So the question is, are you allowed to drill a 4th hole thinking to yourself, he most likely doesn't really care, he's not makbid, or it's mamish, not only does he not care, it's a mitzvah to drill it there because it's a sukkah, or you're going to sit in Gehenna for 2.5 years because you just used this drill without permission, or none of the above. What does the Olam say? Huh? Allowed. Allowed. I say it's none of the above. You only sit in Gehenna for 1.5 years. You come back as a Gilgal. You have to give back as a drill. Yeah. Okay. As we're going to see, it's 100% usher to use somebody's item without reshus. If you ask reshus for a specific thing, you can only use it for that specific thing, not more, maybe less. Bo Minei Reb Eli. Soicher oimer nosati umasker oimer loy notalti. Amil havi raya. So the renter says, I paid my rent, in my business, I pay the rent, and the guy and the landlord says, I never received your rent. The guy says, I put it in the rent box. You know, you have one of these boxes, you throw it in there, I put it, look for it. Yeah, sure. Walking these apartments, I used to walk a lot of apartments. So you see the crazy people that say they have no money to pay rent. They have 270-inch screen TVs. Like their entire walls, they bring it in all the way from Germany, special, this, that. Cars, the most gorgeous cars. They don't have money for rent. 100 pairs of gym shoes, you know, the Jordans, but no rent. It's you walk in the apartment, you know, this guy doesn't pay rent. Yeah. Who's the guy? Who has to bring the raya? Says Gemara Emas, what's the case? Both of them are Mishnah. If it's before when the rent is due, then we know. If it's after, also we have to remember, when is rent due? At the end. So what do we learn? This now we learned in the Mishnah. We just linked it 2 days ago. If a father, Rahman al-Slan, dies within 30 days of his child, his b'char, finally has a kid, like the guy yesterday that died before he saw his son. Interesting, yeah? A very tragic case here. He didn't make it to his son's pinyan haben. Okay. We're pretty sure that the father, even though he knew he's dying, he probably didn't give the kohen the money. He's supposed to be paid on the 30th day. He probably didn't prepay and say, listen, use it in 30 days. What if the kohen uses the money? It's not so gishmak. What? Hold on, you're jumping. So the Chazaka, there's no pidyon until he could bring a raya, the son has to bring a raya, that he was nivda. And after 30 days, Chazaka, that there is a pidyon, because people do pay on time, until his neighbors will say, listen, we know for a fact, father's too sick, he was not paid to you. So which one?
300 Gemaras.
What?
Just once.
Is it that person, Pliny? Wow. Shkoyach. Now, I want you to text Noam. Did he text you yet? Okay. Shkoyach, thank you so much. 360 Gemaras, that's a lot. Imagine the zchut of this person, seriously. I'm just going to, maybe I just take off my jacket. Take off the shirt. Maybe I'll just bend this. Okay, that's better. Yeah, sure. Imagine 360 Gemaras. So let's say 60 of them drop out. 300 people are learning Torah because of this person. You know what it reminds me? There's a person from England that told me, Maisa Shaya, I was walking with him from here to there. He said, listen, I do pretty well. I'm okay. I have a nice business. For whatever reason, I can't explain it, that the free Gemara got me. I could afford a free Gemara, but I loved the idea of free Gemara. And I took that Gemara, and now he's one of the biggest people pushing the daf. His name is Ari Davis. I just remember that. Remember you told me that? Ari, you don't remember? I remember that. Did you get a free Gemara? You did. And you don't remember telling me that, hey, not maybe, I remember. Listen, I don't remember a lot, but that I remember. Hey, how did I know you got a free Gemara? But chaps, no, it's geshmak, get something free. And then all of a sudden, and here you are, what, how many years? 3 years? 3 years. It's gewaldig. You hear that? The schusim that he has. 300 people. Let's say 360, let's be 360 people. Says the Gemara, what? Oh. I'm donating. Oh, it's going down now? What did you say? Oh. Okay, so you know what? Seriously, I'm going to donate 60 Gemaras in honor of the person that gave 300 Gemaras. Put it on my bill that I owe from the charity. What?
You don't want to match it?
Ooh. All right, Zogin Gemara. Okay, so a person Chazaki doesn't pay early. He definitely paid if it's late paid. So what's the shiloh over here? On the day we have a question. Did he pay the rent right now? There's a machloek. Did he pay rent or not? We know he doesn't pay early, and he certainly would have paid if it was late. But we're on the day. Do people pay on the day or not? This guy that owns a gemach said, a person that pays on the day is a regular person. A person who pays late is a big tzadik. And a person who pays early is a big rasha. What? He said, person that pays on the day, okay, everybody pays on the day. If you pay late, you know the gemach is never giving you a dime ever again because you paid late. And you pay, you're a tzadik. But why would you pay early? Because you're a rasha. Because you want a bigger loan and then you want to stiff the gemach. So you're a rasha. You're doing it b'chavana to steal. All right, so Mamish fits right into the Gemara. Nobody pays early, and a lot of people pay late. The shaila is, does he pay on time on the day? Says Gemara, we actually learned it. Daf Kuf Gimel Amud Aleph. We're going to have a sugya later on. It says like this, that if you are an employer and you have an argument with your employee who has an argument with the employer, so the sacher, the employee, on the day that he's supposed to get paid, and his employer says, I don't know, whatever, nishba v'noito. It's one of the only times that a person makes a shvuah, he swears and he takes. Usually you make a shvuah and you don't pay. To make a shvuah and take and benefit from it, that usually doesn't happen. So, the Gemara infers, sacher hu d'ramu rabbanan shvuah alei. It's a once in a lifetime thing that an employee, he makes a shvuah. We assume that the employer has many other workers, and he forgot who he paid and who he didn't pay. Over here, the soicher is similar to what? Think about it. The soicher, the renter, is similar to who? To the employer or the employee? The soicher is the one that has to lay out money. He has to pay the guy that rented him the apartment. So he's similar to an employer. Yet when it comes to an employer and employee, the employee makes a shvuah and he takes. Says the Gemara, that's one case. But typically speaking, the person paying, like the employer, would make the shvuah. So over here, the soicher makes the shvuah and he doesn't have to pay. A person wrote a contract for 10 years. 10 years. He missed one little detail. When does the contract start? Doesn't say the date. It says it's for 10 years. Locks in the rent for 10 years. So the renter tells him, the owner of the house tells the renter, Nikitas Chameshnin, you're already there, you sat in my house for 5 years. Mehemen. He's believed. Why is he believed? Oh, what kind of chazaka? Hamed karko al cheskasa. We had this yesterday. So, the owner of the land, he has a chazaka. It's my land. And ches is baleh. Says Gemara, if you're going to use that chazaka, there's a very similar chazaka we also had yesterday. If you have a star for 100 and the guy says, I paid back 50 of the 100, there's another chazaka called Hamid Mamana Chazkasai. You want to take money from me, so I have a chazaka. What kind of chazaka is this? When you have a star that's to, how do you say? To collect the loan. You should have written something on the star itself. I paid off 50%. Right? A receipt. But the owner of the real estate tells the renter, the reason why I wrote you star, I don't want you to do something called cheskas gimel shalib. I don't want you to sit in my property for 3 years and then you'll say you own it. This is a long-term lease. It's dangerous. So I wrote a shtar, and memela, I am believed with my cheskas karka. I have a cheskas hamid karka cheskasai that I am the owner, and you have to pay me the rent for 5 years, and you can't say, oh, I was only there for 2 years and I have 8 years left. Omar Rav Nachman. Very interesting halacha here. Shoyal adam betuvay la'olam. A person should always ask his friend how he's doing, if he's doing well forever. No, that's not what it says. A person, when he borrows a kli and he says, I want it in good condition, what happens is that kli, that vessel, whatever it is, the drill, he has the right to use it forever. You hear what's going on here? If I use the word, I say, could I borrow the drill in good condition? Even if I give it back to the owner, I can knock on his door the next day, give me back the drill, and he can't say no. Why? As the Gemara is going to say in a second, if you made a kinyan, chalipin, so we have a real kinyan here, and that tool is, you're obligated to give me that tool forever. Unbelievable halacha. Because we use the lashon betuvai. Yeah, kinyan suda and chalipin is the same thing. Kinyan suda, like what you do at a chasana. Maybe suda is a better word, yeah. By the way, again, you have here Rav Mari Bera the Bas Shmuel. Rav Mari, the grandchild of Shmuel, the daughter of Shmuel, doesn't mention the father because he was a guy then. She was in captivity, and then he became a ger, and they got married. So it mentions the daughter, not the father. Rav Mari Bera the Rabashi. Let's say you borrowed a shovel and you keep on using the shovel and the shovel just gets worn down. At the end of the day, you give back the actual handle itself. And there's two things going on here. So the gra on the side over here says, and you can't fix it. You don't have the right. Even though you have the right to take the shovel from any time you want. Since we made this kinyan sudar, I can knock on the door, hey, I want my shovel. Not my shovel, the shovel. But it's not a gift. And since it's not a gift, once it gets worn down, you have to return whatever parts are remaining there. So I told Yoshi, I think we went a little bit overboard on this. It was just the idea. To me, it was like a funny idea here. It's like a guy gets into an accident, yeah? Here. Toker, we put Toker because Menachem Toker, we wanted to see America's Daf Yomi on the other side. Okay. Kids are like, there's nothing left to the clay, but here's the handle, Yishkoyach. But the point is that the handle is not something you keep, it's not yours as a gift. You still don't have any demyonis that it became yours because you're able to knock on the door and take it whenever you want. Omar Rava. So this is the halacha. If a person tells his friend, listen, I want to borrow your shovel because I would like to use it in this orchard right over here. Halacha is Rapik Bey Ahu Pardeisa. He could use it on that specific orchard and not on another one. Yisrael Salanter always used to say, he says, look, a regular Yid will never take a single pruta from his friend, not even one pruta. But to understand that pruta is not yours, that you have to be a big Talmud Chacham. Because if people say, like a lot of people said here, what does he care? I borrowed the shovel. I said this orchard. You think he cares if I do another orchard? Doesn't matter. You have to know the halacha. As long as you say, I'm borrowing for this specific task, don't start being a lamdin and he probably doesn't care, he does care. If you said for this, you use it for this. You don't do anything else. You use it for something else, you're a ganav. You don't have rishus for that. That's what it says here. Ahu Pardeisa, only that. If he just says Pardeisa, so he doesn't say hi, he doesn't say this one, he says one orchard, an orchard. Ravi Bey, called Pardeisa, the boy, he could use it for any orchard in the world. Pardeisa, and if he says The orchards. Ravik vaza kol pardes in the islay umahader leikote. He could use the largest field in the world, use it all the way, ruin. You know, in those days, I don't know what kind of metal they had. It seems like you used it a little bit and that was it. You know, you had nothing left at the end of the day. You had a handle. You shovel. By the end of the day, you have a handle left in your hand. You give back the handle and Shalom Yisrael. Huh? Yeah, literally. It's a little. We also learned. Didn't we learn about a cow that becomes kachosh as you're using it? It's Amar Rav Papa. Hi man do Amar Lechavrei. Similar halacha. Oishlan hai gergusa. Nachamaltz coming out. We gotta get rid of the shirt. Anybody want to buy the shirt for Gemaras? No. It has a shtickle problem. It has a mum. It keeps on popping out. No, let's just do it like this. I'm finished. We'll just do it for. Yeah.
Close your top button.
Oh, you're supposed to close the top? Fine, like this.
You got it much worse.
It's good. It's a new style. A person says to his friend, listen, I need a well. I need to water my field. Can I borrow this high gurgusa, this well? V'nafla, and the well collapses. Libani law. That's it. It was this well. You can't rebuild it. Gargusa, but if you don't say high, you say a well. V'nafla, and it collapsed. Bani law. Then you could rebuild it. Begargusa. This. Huh? He could use it when it's rebuilt. Okay, I hear. Because he didn't say, if he says high, it's as is. If afterwards, like I said, if he comes to rebuild it, says Rashi, I am borrowing it. Not the owner, the shaul.
The owner built it.
Says Rashi, when the one borrowing it says, I wanna rebuild it. I did not lend it to you. Not the owner. Where do you see the owner? The shayel. The shayel wants to build it. Let's read again. If the borrower came to build it, it's lent to me. The owner could stop him. Not the owner rebuilding, the show. Okay. Gargusa, Bonila. Gargusa, but if a guy says, I need a place to dig, big mistake, don't let anybody do that. Why? You have a nice land. It used to be nice. Today, it has 45 giant 40-foot pits in it. Why? Because the guy is searching for water. He said, you have a place for me to search for water? He said, yeah, try over there. He didn't realize he's going to bring one of those drills and just go crazy over there until he found water. He has the right. You let him do it. Until he finds water, but you have to make a kinyan for that. Okay? A person lent a house or rented a house to his friend and it fell down. Today, l'mashal, by us in America, sometimes the place burns down. You rent a place, it burns down. So you have to provide another place. You rented a house, you have to provide him another one. You have to give him another house. Now, if the house was a small house, you can't give him a large house. Again, one of those Reb Kidnovations stories. I know you love them. Guy came to ask Reb Kidnovations, should I buy the larger apartment or the smaller apartment? Guess what he said? Of course he said, but why? This he would never believe. Less cleaning for chametz. Because he used to go around for hours and hours. Why would a guy want a big house if you have to? It takes hours. So he said, Bais Khan. So no, there are people that prefer the smaller house, the smaller place. So I want to tell you this unbelievable thing that happened to me yesterday. When I was preparing this, it hit me that I was in somebody's house. It was a very, very small house. And the guy gave me tremendous chizuk. I spoke to him for a long time. The famous Reb Uri Zar, zכריה, zכות tzadik לברכה. Uri Zar was the biggest actor here in Eretz Yisrael, and he became a Baal Tshuva. And that's not a Baal Tshuva. He became a very chashuv person, and he gave a lot of shiurim. And I went to visit him, and the first time I ever met him, I went to visit him in his apartment. It wasn't an apartment. It was the machsan, the storage room for his house. So he gave his apartment to his son. He wanted to live next to his son to give his own chizuk, the whole thing. And he lived in the machsan. I'm not exaggerating. In terms of, I have to go see it again. Maybe 12 feet by 12 feet, something meshuga. The sink, what? You could see, because I searched for it, I didn't see it. Okay, I'm sure it's there. So I don't have to go visit. I really want to go see it again. I thought maybe I'm making stuff up. He had a little kitchen, and a table, and a bookshelf, and a small bathroom that one person could fit like this, that you can't even open the door without going around the door, with no sink inside because there's no room for a sink, and a tiny little sink next to. And his wife was sitting there on the side, like you couldn't, there's nothing there. It was just one little storage. And he told me, he said this to me, he said, I had the nicest house in Eretz Yisrael. I lived on the beach. The nicest house in Eretz Yisrael. I went from the nicest to probably the smallest house I've ever seen in my life.
Went to Matzah first.
Right.
A normal apartment. And then later, when he got old, he moved into the little thing.
Okay. That's when I met him.
And I asked him why he did that. He said, no, this is very much bigger than my next house. He said to me.
He's a big tzadik, and I had the zchut to speak to him for 2 hours. I brought him here to my house here in Bet Shemesh, drove the whole way, the whole thing, a lot of big schmoozes. So the inspiration I got from this person, a person that had all the gashmis in the world, everything. He's the actor, the comedian of Eretz Yisrael, and he went and he said, learn Torah, Yom Baila Chavrusis, and it was unbelievable. I said, okay, I'm going to speak about this. Imagine my surprise when, after I put his picture in, here's his picture, I put it into the thing. After I put it in, I said, I'm going to show the Olam what he looks like. I found out that when I put his picture in, it was his yahrzeit yesterday, Gimel Sivan. And when I found that out, I mamish broke down crying. It was like a kiss from Hashem, but like in my face. I was like, I had this whole thing. I'm going to say over how I met him. And then only afterwards I found out it was his yahrzeit. I don't know what it means. Mamish. I called up Benny. He didn't pick up the phone. So I called up Mark Ashkenazi and Mendel Pilchick, the three people I spoke to before. I said, you know what? I got it on video. So nobody's going to believe me. I'm crying like a baby. I have tears coming down my eyes, like at a simcha, at a shock, such a shock. Okay, I thought I would share with you. Hey Chidami. Oh no, we're in the middle of the thing. Echad lo yasenu shnayim, shnayim lo yasenu echad. If you have like one bedroom, whatever it is, one, you don't give him two. Shnayim lo yasenu echad. I know a lot of people that have like, they have a bunch of kids that sleep in one room. And you have like, the Americans, each kid gets their own room with a bathroom and a masseuse and the whole thing, whatever. A kid that grows up like that doesn't want to be with his sibling in the kids that grow with siblings in the same room, 5, 6, 7. I was in a Yerushalmi house. That's the guy convinced me to collect money for him because he showed me, I think, almost like 10 or 11 kids in one bedroom. They were sleeping 3 per bed, and there's unbelievable massive there. And the baby was sleeping in a stroller, and it's like. But when you grow up like that, you almost don't want to go to another bedroom. You feel like lonely. Whoa, I'm going to have my own bed? This is crazy. So you have echad, you have one bedroom. You don't want shnayim, that's no good. Shnayim echad. If there was a certain amount of windows in the place, don't add. Yosef aleim elom adashneim. And all these things in the Mishnah, you need the consent from both sides in order even to give more. Hey Chidami, says the Gemara, if you were very specific about a house, you said zeh, this isn't all shots. Once you use the word zeh, as we had before, this pit, this orchard, zeh is very specific. Nafal, azaleh. Once the house burns down, falls down, that's it. I don't owe you anything else. I said this house I'm going to rent you. If you said I'm going to rent you anything like we do, any apartment, it's not a specific one, Maybe in the contract it is specific. I don't know. Okay, but if I just said a house, why can't I give you a 2-bedroom apartment? What's wrong with that? You rented one. I gave you a 1-bedroom. Then I'm going to give you a 2-bedroom. Why can't I give you a larger one? It's exactly, I'm giving you a 500 square foot apartment, that's it. So you don't give him 600, you don't give him 400. So what's the big kiddush? You said specifically you're going to give him 500 square feet. You pointed something, say like this. So it has to be like this. It's on here. We have a picture even. It's one of these shvacha houses on the lake. And you say, I want something like this. I'm going to rent you something like this. So here's the thing. What does like this mean? Are you talking about the size of the house, or are you talking about the location? So think perhaps it's the location. I'm going to give you something on the lake, not 10,000 square feet like this house. It'll be 5,000. It'll be 1,000. The point is, kozeh, on the lake. Everybody, it says in Rashi, everybody loves the view. I think that kozeh doesn't refer to the size of the house. It just means the location. No, 2 things. It means it has the great view of the lake, plus it's that size. Hadran aloch hashoyel, hadran aloch hashoyel, hadran aloch hashoyel. Mentioned yesterday, there are 2 types of people that we're discussing. Number 1 is a kablan, is a aris. We're very familiar with the aris. Aris is someone, here we go, he pays a certain percentage of the crop. Whatever comes out. So if there's 100 fruit, he typically takes a third, gives 2/3 to the owner. Or in our sugya, Rashi likes to say that he gives 1/3 to the owner. The Gemara actually says it and keeps 2/3 for himself. Tosfos goes on to explain, throughout Shas we say that the aris usually takes 1/3 for himself and gives 2/3 to the Baila Chaya. Over here it's the reverse, because once again it depends on what the Baila Chaya provides. If he provides the seeds to grow, so then he deserves more. He doesn't provide the seeds, he gets less. The kids, it doesn't really matter. The point is that they made some sort of deal that they'll split the produce. That's a kablan, a aris. We're not really going into it deep today, but it's good to know for the rest of the parak. There's something called a chaycher. Chaycher means I'm paying you, it's like renting the place. I'm paying you for this field, I'm paying you $100 a year. Usually it's done in fruit. I'll give you 2 tons of fruit. Now, if the field produces 0, I still owe you 2 tons of fruit. So you have to go to the market, buy 2 tons and give it to him. This has nothing to do. The guy on the left pays based on what the produce, however much comes out, I give you a certain percentage. No. The guy on the right pays no matter what. So he's more of a balabas. He's more of a bailam over here. Usually in fruit, but it could be also money. It's the same idea, but usually in fruit. Over here, what? You say only fruit? Why do you say only? Okay, I'm saying it's the same idea as chirus. Same idea, but over here it's fruit. Yeah. Says the Gemara, everybody could take this to wherever they want. Hamakabel is like Kabbalah Satira. There's 2 ways to do it. You have, where's my wheat? My chush of a wheat. Ooh, I don't want to ruin my wheat. Here we go, my wheat. Take good care of this wheat. Baruch burger for Nofai Elon. This is not Pasha. This is a gift that he got, right, Baruch? We're taking good care of it. There's a way. The typical way is like we're familiar. You go like this. You chop the wheat down. You leave a little bit in the ground. The other way is to uproot it. You can imagine how much work that is. But there's different minhagim, different places. There's a different minhag. So Mogim Shanag, of course, all the Mishnah is saying, you have to do whatever the minhag is. You made a deal with the guy, you're going to give him 1/3, so you have to keep the minhagim of that place. Mogim Shanag, Liktzar, Yiktzar, Lak or Yakar. If the minhag is to cut it, you cut it. If it's to uproot, uproot. As the Gemara is going to say, each one has a plus and a minus. If the minig is to plow after you harvest the wheat, you must plow again. So, over here you got the grains, and you take the grain and you grind it, and you have flour. So that's really what you're after. Yet, there's something called teven, as you see on the chart over there, something called kash, the straw. So just like you split the grain, again, we are talking about now only the kablan, because they split stuff. The chaycher doesn't split, he has to give a certain amount no matter what. So, over here we're talking about the kablan guy. They have to split the rest of the stuff also. Just like they divide the wine, the branches, and the poles that, here, this is kanim. It's just the poles that hold up the grapes. As the Gemara is going to explain, why do they split the poles? Because both of them had to pay the bill to Home Depot to get those poles. This doesn't come with the grapes. You have to buy from an outside source. Since they both provide the kanim, that's why they split the kanim after the season. Tana. Sponsored by Eric Edelman of Bigger Cup Consulting and Kidnovations LLC as a zchut for quick and full Refuah Shelaima for a member's wife who's in critical condition, was in critical condition, thinks she's doing a little better, but she needs Refuah Shelaima and Rachmi Shemayim, Merubim. Lana Devorah, please stop and down for and a zchut for Simcha ben Fega. Tana, Malkim Shinagu Liktzar Einu Rishoy Lakor. Lakor Einu Rishoy Liktzar. As we said in the Mishnah, if that's the minhag to harvest the regular, you're not permitted to uproot. If the minhag is to uproot, you're not permitted to be kaitzer. Ushnei makvim zeh al zeh, and this seems to be extra lashon. The Gemara is going to explain, and both of them could prevent the other one from doing what against the minhag. Liktzar ein rishai lakor. Why? Like everything else in life that I'm familiar with, I'll tell you right now. I think that an electric car has unbelievable miles. It goes 0 to 60 in a half a second. You don't ever have to drive to a gas station. You just fill it up in your house. Imagine if you had to go take your cell phone to the store every time you wanted to charge it up. It wouldn't be very good. That's what you guys do with the regular cars. It makes a lot of noise, the regular car. This is very quiet. You never have to do oil change. Very little this. And a combustion, on the other hand, I don't know there's no miles. Okay, so, but everything in life, in Shidduchim, she has this mila, but she's a little meshuggah. Beautiful, that's a great shidduch because, there's other milas, the Beis Din. Everybody. There's not a single person in this world that has all the milas. Everybody has a chesaron and a mila. Same thing over here. You have a mila for ktsira and a mila for akira. For both, for the owner and for the other guy. And vice versa. Liktar and Rushai Lakar. Hi Omar, Bino de Titvan li Aroi. I want you to leave a little bit of the straw in the ground, because then it's going to rot, and then it's going to fertilize my field. That's why I want it. Hi Omar, loy metzina. And if you want, and if the owner says no, take it out, he could say no, it's too much work for me to pull each and every weed out. On the other side, Lakar and Rushai Liktar. There's a big mila of uprooting it. So if one of the two don't want to uproot it, they have a problem. It's interesting that the Gemara is going out of its way to explain why there's a certain minhag to do a certain thing. What's the difference? Okay, the Gemara is explaining. I want a clean land. Now I decide I'm going to build something on it. I don't want any stubble over there. And the other guy says no. Or, not no, there's not a fight. The reason why I want to uproot it and not cut it, because I want to use the extra straw for my animals. Because each thing has a mila. But it just said, you cannot do against the minhag. So why do you have to repeat yourself and say, each one is makiv the other? Matam kamar, what's the reason? Matam liktar, it's one statement. Matam liktar in Rushai Lakar, why is it? I would think uprooting is great. It makes the field, no. Each one has a great reason why you would want the other thing, and therefore I could prevent you from doing the other thing. If that's the minhag in the place to do another plowing after the harvest, then what's the chiddush that he has to? Of course he has to do it. It's a place that they don't do the weeding, and this farmer that's giving the owner of the land a certain amount, he went ahead and did an extra weeding. Why did he do it? Because he wanted to gain that he doesn't have to plow afterwards. He thought the purpose of plowing is to get rid of the weeds or whatever. I'll do it first. I weeded it, so I don't have to do the plowing. And this we'll see over and over. That this is the side in business. Every day, people have problems. You know why? Because they assume that the other person understands what they want. And just assume that nobody understands anything, and you have to be very, very specific. You have to write everything down. If you're not mefarish, you don't say, listen, I'm going to weed today, so I don't have to plow tomorrow. You don't say that, and you just assume, hey, the guy, what is he, stupid? He sees that I'm going to plow. Yeah, the guy, nobody understands anything. He might be a liberal, and you might be a Republican. I don't know what, and you have different ways of thinking. So you have to be mefarish everything. Hakol k'minhag Medina. Everything is like the minhag Medina, and usually when it says hakol, it comes to include something that we didn't talk about. Hakol lasuyimai. Interesting. I am plowing, I'm doing this whole thing in the field, and there's a beautiful tree in the middle of the field. Do I get to use it? I'm a aris, I'm a kabbalah. Do I get to use it? I'm a choicher. Do I get to benefit from the fruit? Now think about it. If there's a tree, I don't have to do any work. It's free. I don't have to plow, I don't have to seed, I don't have to water. Fruit come automatically. So let's say I get to use the tree. It's unbelievable. How much do I get? Well, if my split with the owner is, he gets 1/3 and I get 2/3, I get 2/3 of the fruit for free. If I'm a choicher, how would it work? Choicher is, I pay the owner X amount of fruit a year, 2 tons. I get to use, everything on the field is mine. So every one of those fruit on the tree is mine. So if the minhag of the makam is for me to use the trees, so I get the tree. But if the minhag is not. Says the Gemara in both ways. It's just a very simple tzrichusa. Of course, that's the minhag. The reason is because maybe from the amount of money that I'm giving, or the split that I'm doing with this owner, shows that I don't deserve the tree. Why? The whole world gives the owner 1/3. But he only gave, instead of 33% to the owner, he gave him 25%, which is less. And therefore, the owner says, the reason why I agreed on a smaller amount is because I don't want you to touch my trees. I have a beautiful esrog tree. I don't want you to touch my esrogim. Thank you. If that was the case, again, you should have been specific about it. In a place where the minhag is not to eat from the tree, you don't touch the tree. Pshita, what's the chiddush? I gave the owner more money than everybody else. Everybody gets 25%. And I gave him 33%. Oh, it's obvious. Rabbi said, we do this all the time, Bemis. Think about it. The reason why I gave you more money, you should have chapped. What, you're not a lamdan? Well, why am I giving you 33% when everybody else gives 25%? Because obviously, because you're letting me take the shregim off the tree. No, that's not why. If that was the case, you should have been specific. Says the Gemara, they split everything, even the straw. So the minhag was not to give straw to the aris. If there's a person that does give the straw, don't learn from him good stuff. To learn from that, he's just large. People are large. Arois. Rav Yosef. Listen to this. Yeah, you go by the minhag and not by this guy. This guy is going against the minhag. He's being large, spoiling everybody. Fine. Everybody, look at this beautiful chart that Yoshi did. We'll read inside. I love this. Rav Yosef Bukhra, V'Tovsa, V'Kafta, Ukani the Chizra, the Balabais. So it goes like this. Here we go. Where am I? Right over here. You have a field. So the minhag was to demark the field, to show my borders. You dug, and you made a little mound of dirt all the way around. What happens is, These guys, these clowns, they come and they step on it. Okay? So that mound gets lower and it's not really noticeable. The first one is called the bukhra. It's a bukhar. Second one is the tafta. So you fill up again. That's just a tfei, more. Come the people, they step on it. Great. So then you fill up again. The third time, do a little bit more. Who has to pay for all this? The balabais. And then, once that's done, you do these. Put a bunch of kanim all the way around, some poles. That's the balabais. From here on out, the aris has to pay for this. The kaitzim. You can fill those kanim with kaitzim. Sometimes the art is for humor. Sometimes it's for explaining the sugya. I think this is beautiful what he did over here. There was supposed to be, I asked him to do one more piece. Maybe it was better that he didn't. No, it's not there. I asked him to do a certain president jumping over the fence and his pants getting stuck on one of the kaitzim, tripping and falling, and whatever. And then Nachman would say, it's not nice. Covered that Medina, but we're in a different country. Oh, but they want, okay, fine. We're calling the Chizra, the Balabais. Remember in Gita, you gave me a hard time. Yeah. It's bullshit. Yosef, the three mounds of dirt, Ukani and the beams, the poles, the Chizra that hold up the thorns, the Balabais. The Balabais has to provide. The Chizra Gufei. But the thorns themselves, the Risa, the Kablon has to pay for it. Klal the Milsa, this is the rule. Kolik or blama, anything that keeps people out of my field, the balabais, he has to do it. Netirusa yatirta, but anything more than that, above and beyond, like the thorns, the arisa, because in fact, it's helping him. All right, do we have time for a story? Not really. Okay. Vamrav Yosef, Mara Uzvila, here we have a shovel and a hoe. These are tools that you work with in the field. Vidavla and a pail, vizarnuka and a leather bottle, the balabais. I just want to mention this because I keep on forgetting to say this. We have this, we're talking about the shovel and digging in a field that the balabais has to provide. So Reb Shimshon Pikus says a very interesting thing. He says that there's 10 types of tefillos. One of them is called tza'aka. A lot of people at the Seder, they do vanitzak, they scream to Hashem. He refers to it not so much as a tza'aka, as a scream, but as the inability to express yourself with words, to articulate, to say anything. You're so davak to Hashem, you scream to Hashem, that nothing comes out of your mouth. So he says, a Muslim daima, it's like a guy was digging for a treasure. He was told, there's a treasure over here. So he takes a shovel and starts digging. All of a sudden he hits something hard. Can't go further. So he says, oh, you know what? Let me try another area. So he starts digging somewhere else. He says, shaita. If you can't dig, that means you just hit the treasure. Go over there. Don't go somewhere else. He says, a person's at the matzav of vanitzak, that means he's stuck. Don't stop, pause, and say, okay, let me gather myself and let me say the words. No! The vanitzak is a tefillah she'eni chezeres reikam. It's one of these tefillahs that the top of the top, be in that thing, enjoy it, utilize it, and go weiter. Okay. Dr. Gemara, Arisa, Ovid Beyoire. This is the Beyoire, the famous Beyoire. If he has to water the field. If he's lazy and he doesn't want to schlep 1,000 pails, he could provide some of these ditches that provide the water to the field, but that's up to him. That's his thing. If he doesn't want to, he wants to go pail by pail, that's also okay. We said these poles that hold up the grapes, what are they doing? Like, where do they come here? They don't grow there naturally. These are smooth poles. In other words, the peeled, says Rashi. That's how you support the grapes. Of course, why would they split it if they both didn't provide it? Why do they actually split evenly the poles? Because they both provide them. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.